They used German money even though they were in Austria, which is very, very interesting. Hello everybody and welcome back to Swedish Person Reacts. We are back with another video once again. Today though, it will be a bit different. As you can see by the title, we will react to Jungholz, which is a very special place in my heart because as you can see now, we have Google Maps open and we can see Europe, we can see Iceland, Sweden, whatever. That's where I'm born, that's where I'm from. I'm from this town right here. That's where I live right now. But that's not where we're going. We're gonna zoom in into Austria and we're gonna try and find this place. Now, if we go somewhere like here, you can see, oh, that's a bit weird. Austria goes up like that. Why does it do that? I don't know. But look at this place. It's called Jungholz. And it's a tiny exclave, basically. So, as you can see here, there's the tiniest bit of border. So I guess it's technically not an exclave, but this right here, Sorgschrufengipfel, 1636 meters, as we can tell by the pictures, is a mountain. So, this place is completely landlocked by Germany instead of Austria. And I love to go on Google Maps and just look at random places. And I was very curious, what is this place? Why is there a tiny bit of Austria completely cut off from the rest of it? Literally, it's a tiny road. Can we go on Google Maps here? No, but we can go on the main picture. Okay, it cannot be a road, clearly. But look at this view. Absolutely stunning. But basically, I think that is Jungholz right down there. That is still Austria. And that is Austria. But it's covered by this mountain. And I thought we would react to a video of a person going to this place. Because I'm going to tell you a few fun facts before we go to that video. Basically, Jungholz is a tiny village that has a ski resort. But one interesting fact about it is that they didn't switch to euros until 2002. They were still using Austrian marks. I think they were using even German currency. I'm not really sure, but they took them a long time. And I think also they are one of the few places where they use German. They're in Austria, but they use like German names and stuff like that. Like the post would be German. Which makes sense, right? Because if you look, the only way in is through Germany. So instead of having the Austrian post go all the way from like Zublin, all the way up here, they would probably just get it from Wertasch in Germany. And I'm not sure if we can get a Google Maps. We cannot, which is a shame because I would love to see how the border looks. Is there a big border? Is there a small border? I'm not sure. But basically, let's just go into one of these for fun. This is how Jungholz looks. It's very beautiful and it's very tiny. And I so wanted to know the history of this place. So, that is a brief of Jungholz. We're now going to watch a 7-minute video on this place. There's a guy who's gone there. And I'm really excited because it feels like a very special place to me. So let's start by watching that video. So,
this is the village of Jungholz,
yep,
which is the largest settlement in this exclave.
So it is an exclave.
And there we have a hotel which is up for sale. It's called the Jungholz.
Okay.
And it's been empty for some time. And in my opinion, that's going to be a very hard sell because it was built, I understand, more than 40 years ago, and would have facilities for 40 years ago, and would be rather difficult to sell today where people are more demanding in facilities.
Look how beautiful it is.
There's the mountain.
Wow.
And there we see the village with its church and some murals. There's several buildings here with murals on, which includes the local symbol, which is the eagle, the Tirolean eagle, but it has a branch coming out of it, which is meant to represent this exclave, Jungholz.
Okay. Very cool. So let's just pause it here. That says Gris Tos im Land Tirol. So it's in the land of Tyrol. And I'm not sure if that's a date or something. But why does this exclave exist, you might ask? Well, I hope he's going to answer it, otherwise we will Google.
3rd of April, 2017.
Oh. Okay, that's the date he was there,
Sunday,
5 years ago.
The bikers will be out.
Wait, which date did he say? 17th of April? I'm just curious.
Today, Sunday, the 3rd of April.
Oh, 3rd of April. Okay, so it's a while back now.
As it's Sunday, the bikers will be out.
Yep.
Here we have the ski lifts. Jungholz was the first place in the Talheimer Tal and Reuter area to get ski lifts, which it got in 1948, only 3 years after the war.
Yeah, just after the war.
Skiing is an important part of the economy here. It's a tourist destination working on both winter and summer tourism. So it's now between the two. This is the off season. As you can see, the ski lifts here are not running, but I did see one of them running at Oberjoch in Germany, which is about 10 kilometers or so from here.
Fair enough.
Jungholz has a population of roughly 300 people.
Wow.
And as we look over there, we can see the bank. And as we come into distance, we can see more of the bank. In fact, at one stage I know there were 3 banks here. That's a lot of banks for 300 people. The reason for that is because a lot of Germans came here to profit from Austrian banking secrecy and to keep money which maybe they didn't want the German authorities to know about. And that continues to today.
So let's just pause it here. Interesting. So basically, I guess considering the tax laws are different in Austria, I'm assuming he's talking more historical, but today's standard, it would be like you have it in Austria because there's different rules, you save more money, you earn more money. It's kind of like having your company registered in like Luxembourg. Very, very interesting stuff how this tiny like exclave still runs to this day and still, you know, serves a purpose, because as he said, there's only 300 people living in this town and it's beautiful. But I assume a lot of Germans in the local area go there for skiing. And then in the summer, I'm not really sure what they do. There's probably hiking up to that mountain we saw before. And yeah, very, very interesting stuff. So let's continue watching this video, learn more about Jungholz. I hope you're enjoying this journey with me, because I am really enjoying it. And yeah, let's continue learning about Jungholz in Austria.
The war memorial for the village. Now, bearing in mind that this is a village of 300 people, my understanding is that in the First World War, the losses, that's dead and wounded, were 75. So that would be, if the population were the same, some half of the male population. And we can have a look at where people were killed. So we can see on the first one on the Italian front, the second one, 13th of October 1914, that was during the Battle of Przemysl in that area. And we have Galicia, same area, Lwów, Lemberg.
Interesting as well how they all have the same like last name, like Lochbichler. I'm very bad at German, as you can tell. Zobel, Egel, Lochbichler again. Very interesting because it's such a small town. I assume they all like, you know, share the same. They all come from the same place.
Przemysl, San.
So it's all Egel. Now, there's a wolf.
The Austrian losses there were to a large extent that which killed off the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Wow.
The losses in officer casualties were absolutely enormous and killed off their entire professional army. So after that, they were largely finished. Now, the last last person there, Alfred Wolf, killed at Fontana Secra. Now, I don't quite know where that is, but from the date, the 22nd of November 1917, I can guess
Spanish?
that it
Brazilian?
is between the Tagliamento and the Piave rivers.
So Italian.
Now if we come over here, the Second World War, I'd like to point out as well the names. Lochbihler.
Yeah, Lochbihler. That's how you say it.
That name appears on all 3 tablets we've got here. So we've got 4
big family
in the First World War, and 1, 2, 3, 4 here.
Lochbihler again.
1, 2, so that's 7. So here we have.
And just to point out, look at these dates: 1922 to 1944. This guy is 22 years old. I'm 23 myself, and that's just crazy to be in a war and dying in a war at that age. I mean, you barely started living at that point. There you go again, 1915 to 42, 24 to 44, 20 years old, died in Minsk, which I assuming he was in the German army at that point, and it might have been their invasion, might have been actually them retreating at that point, because 44 they would have already done the invasion. I'm not really an expert at the war in detail. I know roughly, you know, when the Germans attacked Russia or Soviet Union at the time, etc. Very interesting stuff. 1907, 44.
Outside Leningrad, 27th of April 1942, there was a local Soviet counterattack on that day. So 28th of November 1944, Vinitsa. The 9th of July 1944, Minsk, there's a Belarusian offensive. 5th September 1944 in the Carpathians. 11th of January 1945 in Slovakia. 20th of April 1945 in Nuremberg.
This guy died in Nuremberg.
In Nuremberg there was street fighting. This was Hitler's birthday. This was the day that the Soviets reached Berlin.
Wow.
Because the way the Gauleiter was in Nuremberg, the town was destroyed.
That's awfully sad. Again, that he died, you know, just when the war was about to end.
Because he decided to fight for it. Here we have Siegfried Lochbihler, who was killed on the 5th of August 1945. So that's near Dijon. He must have been a POW camp. Hans Schiedler was in a Soviet POW camp. He died in December 1947. And we have here Armin Schmidt, who died in Niederrheinstein on the 26th of December 1944.
Very cool.
Don't know where Niederrheinstein is. And we have here
somewhere in Germany, probably.
More names there. People who died 1945, died at 30 years old, or been 29. In East Prussia, because I presume he died in January, because that's when the battles were. In Yugoslavia.
Big history of this place.
Romania, in Poland in 1944, in Rusland in 1944, and in Russia that is, and another one in Russia in 1944. Presume that their bodies were never recovered. Next to the War Memorial is the church.
Beautiful church they have. Amazing architecture.
Who was carrying the child across the river. So he's the patron saint of travellers.
So, that was that video, but we're not done just yet, because now we got an insight on Jungholz. Now I think we need to dive a bit deep into the history of this place and really find out what served the purpose, what was it for. We got a nice video here from this guy. Let's just look what his name is. Alan Heath. Very well done. Very nice video, sir. But yeah, let's continue searching and I'll find some more information on Jungholz. Okay, we are back. We are on a website here and very interesting stuff. I've read a bit through it, but here you go. The beginning just says, you see this place with flukes of history of giving weirdly narrow accidents like the Oklahoma Panhandle, you know, the famous one, the Caprivi Strip of Namibia, etc., etc. Now, Jungholz, a picturesque valley connected to the rest of Austria by the narrowest strip of all, one exactly 0 meters wide. So, Google Maps right here is lying to us. There is no gap. So, it is a proper exclave. So, yeah, that's very interesting to know. Now, if you scroll down, Jungholz is an artifact of 650-year-old estate sale. So with its wildflower-filled meadows, stunning mountain views, etc., etc. Way back in 1342, the German lord who farmed there sold it to an Austrian, and then it stayed a part of Austria for centuries. That is very interesting. So basically, a farmer owned this land way back in the day, 700 years ago, and he sold it to an Austrian. So he was basically, okay, here you go, mate. That's for you. Here you go. It's now Austrian, and I guess it stayed that way. And here it says, Jungholz and Austria proper don't really share a border, more like a corner. So in an 1844 treaty, Germany and Austria agreed that Jungholz will remain part of the Austrian Tyrol, but the German district of Bavaria on the east of Oberallgäu on the west would separate it from the rest of Austria. That's why today Jungholz is the diamond-shaped enclave that touches the rest of Austria only at a single point. Okay, so now we're learning more. I guess it's an enclave, not an exclave, interestingly enough. Except for a few tiny freckles of Belgium, etc. That's a part in Belgium where there's like bits and pieces of Netherlands and Belgium. I probably won't go into that because it's a very well documented place. I thought Jungholz might not be, so that's why I wanted to share with you. So this is the only territory in the world connected to this nation only by a single point. Very interesting. So a very unique place. The point where Jungholz touches the rest of Austria is the mountain peak of Sorgschrofen. Hikers there might spot the boundary marker, a black cross painted on a boulder. Okay. This marks the quadripoint where German districts of Bavaria and Oberallgäu, as well as Jungholz and the rest of Austria, district of Reutte, all meet. Mathematics say a point is infinitely small, so you have to be pretty skinny to enter Jungholz without crossing German territory. So that's very interesting as well. Basically what they're saying is that there is a tiny bit of a gap, but it's so small that there's no way. And they have it painted on a black, basically just on a boulder with a black cross. Now, here's the last bit I wanted to share with you before we need to round up this video. I will give you a few pictures in the background while I'm talking over, so you're not just seeing a random screen. This is what the guy said before. Jungholz is the offshore banking capital of Germany. So there's no road over the peak, as we know. So the only way to get to Jungholz is through Germany. As a result, the town has both German and Austrian postal codes. That's what I was on about before. It has both. That makes sense. So it's a customs-free zone, and before the creation of the Eurozone, they did business in Deutschmark. So I was correct, not Austrian shillings. So they used German money even though they were in Austria, which is very, very interesting. That means that this tiny town has become a booming financial center since its weird border status makes it a loophole in German banking regulations. Banks there administer over €1 billion for German, dodging their country's higher interest taxes. That is very funny. So 1342, farm sale, sure has created work for a lot of accountants. Very interesting stuff once again. That is so cool that for 700 years ago, he sold his farm to an Austrian. Didn't think much of it probably. But it created a loophole 700 years later that would create people dodging taxes and making this tiny part of Austria use German currency. Incredibly cool stuff. I think the last thing we're going to do about this place, Jungholz, is that I'm gonna tell you, or I'm gonna show you a few pictures on Google Maps once again, just to see how beautiful it is, because it is really stunning. So here we go once again. We're on the top of Sorgschrofen Gipfel, 1636 meters on top. I'm not sure where that black cornerstone is, but it would probably be up here somewhere. So let's see if we can find it. Let's click. Okay. So this looks to be like some form of monument. Now, I don't think that's the cross. There's some form of monument on top here. And we cannot find the black cornerstone, or I'm not sure why I say cornerstone, but it's basically the corner, the black cross. Let's see, is there any more pictures of Jungholz that we can share? Let's go a bit further out. Okay, so they have some form of electricity? No, that cannot be electricity. Not really sure why they have a cross up here. Why that is a thing. Maybe it's rope for climbing, I'm not sure. But there you go, once again, Jungholz looking out into this valley. Let's see if we can find a picture inside Jungholz once again. So there's actually multiple places. So there's Langen, Schwand, and then there's Gischwand, and then there's Habsbischel. Let's click here. Okay, basically, I tried clicking on the Google Maps pictures, but it wouldn't let me. But here we see a nice house. Here we see it in the winter. Look at the amount of cars. So it's very popular in the winter, clearly. This is from March 22, so that's really cool to see, just a month ago. Here we go, some more snowy mountains of Jungholz, the banking capital of the world, clearly. So yeah, here they go, going up the ropes. Here we see the ski lift, another beautiful view. And yeah, some more snowy mountains, people skiing, people having fun. Look at this, beautiful views. Let's just find one last picture right here that we enjoy a lot. Here we go. That's a perfect picture to end it. That was Jungholz for you right there. I thought it was a really interesting place to share. And I would probably do more videos like this if it was well reciprocated. Because I love geography. It's one of my passions. I love talking about interesting places. Places you didn't know about, maybe. And I learn along the way as well. So I knew about this place, but I did not know all the facts. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and let me know any other place you'd like me to check out. And I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.